depth into some aquifers. We brag to people that here at the cabin, we feed our grass Poland spring water. The ground, this type is 300% efficient, so for every $1 in, you get $2 additional worth of energy. You gotta add the $1 to 2 to get the 300. That's 350, and this can be up to 500% efficient, which is what we have, and we're somewhere around 450% efficiency here. And so we'll get by that. And here again is, it's been 13 years since I did geothermal. I went online, I said, okay, let's see if they got some rules of engagement to estimate. And again, for this kind of footage in the zone and so forth, it would have been about 20 tons here. But they're not expecting an energy engineer to do all the investments we did on the earlier ones.
Now, if you were in a warmer climate, would geothermal be less or more or the same, equal? I mean, I'm assuming the ground is the same temperature.
The ground is a little warmer as you move further south, by a few degrees. And what happens is right now we're 9 parts heating, 1 part cooling.
Right.
You get to some places it's 5.5, and you get to Florida and it's 90% cooling.
Yeah.
And so.
But you could still do that.
Yeah. But Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, what's great for us is the granite.
Yeah.
That's a great, in Ohio.
Insulator.
Yeah,
Unless you're
it's an ocean of temperature that we transfer. In Ohio, they had problems because the McDonald's we were working with, they dare not go any further than about 400 feet down because they kept hitting gas or oil or something. You know, there was a time at our Shaker property, I told Cindy, good news, they found gas on our property. What's the bad news? I says, it'll cost us about X number of dollars to fix it. It was a leak.
The natural gas coming into our house.
Yeah, the pipeline, there was a leak. So.
Yeah, that's all.
Oh well. And again, we documented what they did. We'll just zip through that. Yeah, it was a mess for a while.
How did you discover the gas leak?
They have things called sniffers or whatever. It's just the gas people occasionally go around and see.
Huh.
And I went, sad.
Well, I think the grass was brown too in that area.
Oh.
Might have been.
Yeah.
We didn't have a dog at that point, so it couldn't have been that. And on your wells, if you screw off the top, usually they'll tell you,
How deep?
yeah, like this one says 660 feet deep. They found 15 gallons at 70 feet, installed 5, 6, 11, and the size of the casing is 7 inches. And so, yeah, here's them tearing into the ground, and this would be up here in front of the house, right here in the corner. Someone saw one of those down there. Well, no, you saw one in the other one. The way that, anyway, and here's where I did interviews where they talked about what they did, the tests, so on and so forth. The ductwork people coming in. Okay, what are you gonna do and what are the strategies?
Because you need to have forced air for geothermal to work. Yeah.
And the other thing is propane and oil run at about 180 degree temperatures coming in. Geothermal is 130, so you need larger ductwork.
So we already had forced air for the propane, but we needed more
Ductwork.
more ductwork for the
And we
geothermal.
want to get away from the cardboard.
Right, but they needed, but it needed more air circulation for geothermal
Yeah.
than it did for propane.
Geothermal, I would think, would also be able to heat water because that's really
Yes.
what you're doing,
Yes.
right? So,
But I didn't think it was efficient enough for what I wanted. They had that option in there.
yeah.
They also had an option where we could have two multi-thermostats.
Zones, two
Yeah.
zones.
Two zones. But when you go down and look at the atrium, excuse me, the Airbnb, if they had done two zones, they'd had to stack the ductwork on top of each other, and I'd be going like
Yeah.
this right now.
Right.
So, one zone, and with the fence, I tell the people down there, it's 8 turns per vent. If you put it almost closed, you're gonna be running about 4 or 5 degrees cooler than we do up here. If you run it open, you'll be 4 or 5 degrees warmer. That's during the winter, so there's adjustments that way. And we monitor, so if we see it's getting cold down there, we can always either open up the front door to trigger our thermostat to turn on the heat, or zap it up. So we'll get through this. This is just more engineering stuff. This is a modern day analysis on energy savings, which pretty much says the same thing I did. For instance, like it's saying here, $1,600 for propane, and geothermal was
Down there on the bottom, yeah.
right there on the bottom.
It's
So
right
propane being shipped and so forth, and that's what we had here. That's one of the reasons. If we had had natural gas here, it might have been hard to justify a geothermal investment, because natural gas is so much less expensive.
Excuse me, Mike, now I'm looking at that graph.
Yeah,
Is the third one down, is that fuel oil?
yes.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at natural gas, there doesn't seem to be much difference.
It depends on where this chart was, what gas system they were. This may be an average from all over the country.
Oh,
So
okay,
I
because,
thought propane was always cheaper to run.
Because natural gas is a lot cheaper than oil.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At current prices.
If we're talking Maine, I agree with you. Other states like Ohio, it's altogether different there.
Really?
Yes.
because I saw on one of your, just previous slides, it looked like natural gas was half what,
Yeah, that was based on my analysis of here
in Maine?
in Maine.
At that time.
And at that time where I was trying to encourage natural gas coming into New Gloucester, because Auburn had it, and
Yep.
I wanted to see if we could
I
get a
switched
spur.
from real to gas.
Is that still true?
I haven't looked at natural gas recently.
Well,
but-
prices went up of natural gas, now they've come back down again.
Yes.
And they fluctuate,
Yeah,
so there's no guarantee.
right. It depends on how much electricity you want to make with natural gas.
Yeah, that's true, they make that.
Okay, here's the bill I wanted to show you from that month that everyone sued over.
Yeah, right.
Because I was watching it day by day, because I was fascinated from the perspective that I think a record's gonna be broken here, maybe 100-year record on cold weather. The thing I've been gearing up for
you were so excited.
5 or 6 years, somewhat, I'm there. How cold can it go?
You
And
may be
so,
vindicated eventually.
what's that?
You may be vindicated eventually.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll find out. It's like I said, that historic thing. But anyway, as I said, I joined EnergyManager.com in May 2011. So I review the stuff daily, just see what comes on. Anyway, the average temperature never broke 32 degrees that entire billing month.
Yeah, it was bad.
Now, this is just saying, I know my base load is 1,000 kilowatts. It doesn't matter if it's summer or winter, it's gonna be 1,000 kilowatt hours. It's what happens to the rest of it. And my bill for the month was gonna ultimately be 3,231 kilowatt hours. So 1,000 of that is my base loading, the rest is temperature. And so, here was a particular period of time, a week of continuous minus temperatures as low as minus 20 degrees. The high might have been 4 or 5, and then they average, and that's where you come up with 10 or 12 or whatever. So the entire billing period, it averaged 11 and a half degrees.
Wow.
The remaining, so the kilowatt hours I had left, if that had been, that 2,000, if it had been baseboard heating, I would have consumed almost 10,000 kilowatt hours of electricity instead of the 2,000 something, which meant, my bill was $580, and I was within $1 or $2 what I expected. And I'm seeing all the lawsuits and stuff flying afterwards. If I had been baseboard heating, I'd been $2,000. So I understand the pain people were feeling, especially if they were baseboard electric heating. Like you had said, so many contractors, it was cheaper to go on baseboard.
Yeah.
So anytime my geothermal kicks on, I know I'm saving about 78% over standard resistance. And that's the difference between geothermal and baseboard heating. So I had estimated back then my costs drilling geothermal that were crunching $40,000. I saved about $5,000 to $300 a year. Now, today, a 6-ton system, since we're now talking 13 years later, the whole turnkey operation for a 6-ton is somewhere around $90,000. At least from one contractor that I've talked to. My payback was 7.5 years. We're gonna pass this. This is just, there's a way of figuring out your efficiency versus everyone else in the country. And I've run through those calculations and saying, before we started, we were in the worst 20%. There were 80 out of every 100 homes were better than me, which amazed me. I meant there was 20 homes as bad, if not worse. That's the shocking thing. And now I'm in the top 1 out of 10,000 in the way of highest energy efficiencies. So we'll get through this. And so that was geothermal. Now the rest is going to go fairly quick because you remember.
I'm gonna cut out.